Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade.
Welcome. Good to come to your way again this morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Matters. My name is Niyi Dunmade, founder, CEO, Magnicraft Consulting. The year is rounding up to an end, and I'm sure there's something sizzling that I'm going to be dishing out before the end goes out so that I can prepare yourself for 2022. 2021 has been awesome for me, has been awesome for us despite the pandemic, but we know that God is helping us. And so we want to thank you for hooking up with us, those who are commenting, those who are liking our posts, sharing our posts, asking questions, engaging us behind the scene. I'm just so grateful for you. We want to be glad that you're also part of this live broadcast show. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps churches grow healthier through empirical assessments, trainings, and strategic blueprints. So we come to your church to do consultations, trainings, strategic blueprints. I'm a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the US. And of course, I'm your host to the weekly Facebook live broadcast show every Monday morning on 7 a.m. Nigerian time. So we've been talking solely on just before you join that church, what are the things to consider? Okay, what are the things to look out for? What do you look out for before joining that local church? What are the parameters to consider before joining that local church? What are the guidelines? Okay, from a consultant perspective, what are the guidelines that will help you to be able to take a quality, proper decision to join that church? Okay, I must tell you there's some tips that I'm sharing that will help you to say no or yes or maybe or just something you were going to just I would like to condone for a while before you find your way out of that church. Okay, now the thing is, association matters a lot. Okay, where you are planted matters a lot. Where you are grounded matters a lot. Okay, when I gave my life to Christ, I can tell you that I was so privileged to be pastored to be discipled, not just only pastored. I was groomed, I was followed up. So you need to be very careful where you are planted, because it's important to your spiritual life. It's important to the progress of your spiritual life. And so I want to also let you know that where you are planted is very important, because a baby planted in an unloving and irresponsible background or family is going to be very dangerous to our world today. So we did number 1 to 6, part 1 last Monday. If you have missed out of that live broadcast show, please go on to my YouTube channel and go to my Facebook page. You're going to see the number 1 to 6 of the tips to consider before joining that church. So today I'm going to talk more on number 7 to 8. Okay, number 7 to 8. So let's look at what number 7 is all about. Number 7 is your church. Is the church preaching targeted at both the heart and the head? You see, one of the things I've seen is that some churches are so philosophical that they try to talk the trend of what's happening in the political world, and they don't share the context of the gospel in the scriptures. So in as much as I love where you are preaching targeted to the head, but that head alone is not going to save the spiritual life of anyone. So is a church preaching targeted at both the heart, because the heart, that is the real core of the being of a man, and then the head also. Does the church pastor expect people to use their minds in worship? You see, sometimes you can be so philosophical and then you lose the essence of the spiritual nature of what needs to be done in your being. So how balanced is it that you are looking at the heart, you are looking at the head, you are also looking at combining those two to make sure that everything about the body is actually very healthy for you. Okay, that's number 7. I need to wrap up. I need to go so fast right now. Okay, number 8. What is the congregation's attitude towards local and international missions? Okay, most churches like to look inwards. Most churches like to look inwards. And once a church starts to look inwards, then that church has started to decline. That church has started to lose its relevance in the community. It has started to lose its impact in the community, because the church is not meant to be inwardly focused. The church is meant to be outwardly focused. The church is meant to look into the community to see how the gospel can be very relevant to the community. Okay, very relevant to the community. So what is the congregation's attitude towards local and international missions, looking away from the four walls of the church? What is the extent of the church involvement in missions, in outreach, in evangelism, in making impact in the community? I need to move very fast now. Number 9, in the pastor's weekly sermon of that church, how does the pastor deal with non-believers? You know, there are some pastors who just try to show how knowledgeable they are, how rich they are in scriptures, but they don't see how they can connect with non-believers. How do they balance it up? Is he excessively focused on unbelievers, or is he excessively focused on believers? Does he strike a decent balance between feeding the sheep and evangelizing the unreached? And that's how you know, is that once you have a sermon, the sermon actually feeds those who are believers, and the sermon actually gets those who are not saved to be saved. Okay, if I want to say in a Sunday service, it doesn't make sense preaching a sermon that you cannot end up making an altar call, or you cannot link up that sermon to making an altar call and for the people to pray over that sermon. So in the weekly sermon, how does the pastor strike a decent balance between feeding the sheep? Because sometimes some churches, the pastor actually are so high end in discipleship that they neglect the younger generation or the unbelievers from getting part of what is going on in the church. Number 10 is I hope you're getting something this morning. Is there a children's and youth ministry? Okay, one of the things I would say up front here is that the church must have a strategy for the family unit. When I mean family unit, I mean the father, the mother, the children, the youth, the maids, everybody, every member of the church. Okay, the church actually has a plan or a strategy for them. So is the church having a good children's ministry, a youth ministry? And as a parent or as a guardian, there's nothing stopping you for knowing what's the qualification of the teachers who are taking the children's church, what's the qualification of the teachers who are taking the youth fellowship, and what's the qualification of the pastors leading the church. Because if the pastors who are living church are not exposed, they are not educated, they don't have experience, then the church shows where they are going to lead the church show. So look at the children's ministry, look at the youth ministry of the church. What is happening there? Are the children really growing up spiritually in the Lord, in the fear of the Lord? Who is in charge of those ministry? What are their qualifications? What are their temperament? You can imagine somebody leading the children's ministry and the person does not have a child, or the person does not know what it means raising up a child. So look at those people who are in charge. Are the men in those positions matured? Are they godly? Are they competent? Do they look at the eternal teenagers? The impact of those teenagers in the long term. Okay, how helpful are they to make sure that those teenagers are grounded in the faith? Someone like Timothy. Timothy was grounded by Paul, and you could see how that was also enumerated in scriptures on the faith that Timothy exhibited. Number 11, is there a male-dominated leadership in the church? You see, one of the things I want to say here is this. You see, the church actually is a feminine posture. It's a bridal posture. Okay? as compared to the head of the church. But then we have a lot of churches today who are male dominated, who have male dominated leadership. The face of the church is actually masculine. What I mean masculine, it's actually masculine in posture, a masculine in disposition, in approach and appearance. And so you have to make a balance. And that's why sometimes in your leadership, make sure that you have women in your leadership, because there are some things that women will bring on the table that no man can bring on the table. So is there a male-dominated leadership in the church? Because once there's a male-dominated leadership in the church, it might be a pointer that there's some of your concerns that the church might not want to consider on the table. Okay, so is there a male-dominated leadership in the church? Is there a church egalitarian or complementarian? Okay, whereby you have the male coming, because the decisions that all male leadership would take will be different from male and female together in the leadership. Okay, as a male, there's a way a male sees things, and there's a way a female sees things. There's a way a man sees things, and there's a way a woman sees things. And that's why God created male and female, so that they can be complementary. They cannot. They can bring out a decision that can help the entire family or the entire human race. Okay, how does the church leadership demonstrate this conviction? Okay, do they allow the wife of the pastor to have some form of expression in the church? I've seen churches who the wife of the general overseer is just so speechless. It doesn't know there's no contribution at all in the church. In fact, most of the times of these churches, the wife of the general overseers are neglected. They are relegated to the background, so that they don't want the church to see their input in the church. And I can tell you that sometimes some of the input of these women can give a good impression in the community that your church is actually sensitive to every gender that there is. Okay, that's just number 11. Number 12, what baptism requirement and standard does the church use? I know some churches that they sprinkle water, they immerse the person into the water, but you need to know before you join. You need to know what are the requirements, what are the standards for the church. Is it in alignment with your convictions? Is it in alignment with the scriptures? Is it in alignment with what God wants for that church? So what are the requirements, okay, and the standards of being baptized in the church? What does the church use? And you see, before joining the church, you need to find a way of knowing their creed, knowing their belief system, knowing their doctrine, knowing their belief statements, and see how that will help you because it's better you know something before you get into it, before you now find out that there's certain things that they believe that is not healthy or that will not help you on the long run. Okay, so that I want to stop here so that we can wrap it up in a 2-3 minutes. But the thing is, we just finished the part 2 of the tips to consider before joining that church. I just did number 7 to number 12. I'm going to continue next week Monday with another solid tips again to consider before joining that church. So feel free, if this video has been useful to you, please feel free to give us a like, give us a thumbs up, share us to your community. You have any related questions, feel free to hook up with us on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube channel. Let's have your questions on all our social media handles, and we will be glad to engage you. Perhaps your question will be helpful. I will personally reach out to you. Please, this video has been helpful to you. Give us a like, give us a share to your community, drop us a comment. You have learned from me. I want to also learn from you. I want to hear from you. I want to learn from you. So drop us a comment and a comment section. And what are the tips you are going to look out for if at all you move up to a new place and you want to join a church? And then that will help us to also add up to the tips that to help other people. Okay, we do consultations, we do trainings, we do strategic blueprints. We help churches revitalize. Reach out to us to help your church move from where it is right now to where it should be, and that will help us to move on from there. We have quite a lot of goodies on social media handles. Please, 8 tips to grow your local church to a mega church status is on our Facebook page, on YouTube channel. Tips to assimilating guests to your church today. That's another video we did, how to read and study the Bible. Okay, one of the things I've learned is that when a congregation is reading the Bible together, there's something that happens to their level of discipleship and their growth as a church. Okay, they're communicating new vision. How do you communicate new vision as the year is coming to an end? January is a time to communicate new direction and new vision in the church. Succession planning in churches, and that's one of the videos I did when we had a lot of lead pastors who are exiting, dying. We need to find a way of having some form of succession planning in place. Why are people not coming to my church? That's a very short video, Church Growth 101. I'm going to do 201 by January to see how we can add up to some of those things that we discussed there. Get the best from the worship service. Okay, you are going to church. How do you get the best out of that worship service? How do you get the best from that service you are going to? Okay, and then I went on to about 44 ways to increase church attendance. Go to my Facebook page. You're going to get some of these things. And then leading and managing a hybrid church is one of the things also we discussed lately. So please, till I come your way, I want to round up here. Till I come your way next week, Monday, please feel free to share us on our social media handles. Go there. There are quite a lot of videos. There are quite a lot of good things that I've shared. Perhaps you want us to come do trainings. I do trainings for church workers, church leaders. I do trainings also for church staff. Please reach out to us. We'll be able to come to your church to do church training. So please go on that YouTube channel and give us a like, and please make sure you drop a comment so that the artificial intelligence will help this video to be spread. Subscribe also so that when we have a subsequent video, you will be notified and you'll not be left out of the goodies that is happening. All right. So thank you till I come your way next week. Thank you. I say bye-bye and God bless you.